welcome to today's chat, which is about a very important hormone called FSH. Now, if you're a woman, then you may be familiar with this hormone, and you may have had your FSH tested as well. So when we talk about the menstrual cycle or even menopause, the focus seems to always be on estrogen and progesterone. But actually, FSH is a really, really important female hormone, and men make it too. So it stands for follicle stimulating hormone, and it does exactly what it says on the bottle. It basically stimulates the follicles in the ovary to develop. So follicles are small sacs, they're found in the ovaries, and they contain our eggs. And at the start of our cycle, then FSH is released from a gland in the brain called the pituitary gland to tell the ovaries to start developing a few follicles at a time, with a plan that the eggs inside will mature. And it's basically like an egg race. So most of the follicles don't reach maturity, they disappear instead. And the winning follicle, once it's matured and it's grown to the perfect size, it basically releases an egg through its wall, and this is ovulation. And as the follicles develop, they produce estrogen, which is right at the beginning of your cycle. FSH goes up, and then as the follicles are developing, estrogen starts to rise. So the first half of your cycle is all about FSH and estrogen reaching their peaks. When a follicle ruptures, the crater left is called the corpus luteum, and that produces progesterone. So FSH is really important for the production of both estrogen and progesterone. If you don't ovulate, you won't make progesterone. And when we go through the transition into menopause, then at first, when we're kind of in perimenopause, we might produce lots and lots of follicles. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we ovulate. Sometimes we may not. So that is why we can end up with an imbalance in hormone production. Both estrogen and progesterone talk to the pituitary gland in our brain in order to control the amount of FSH produced. So when there's low levels of estrogen and progesterone, as happens at the end of your cycle, the pituitary gland thinks, there's no FSH, it starts to make FSH. When we hit menopause, because there are low levels of estrogen and pretty much no progesterone because we're not ovulating, the pituitary gland pumps out lots and lots and lots and lots of FSH. So that's when you can tell. You have to be in menopause in order to see high levels of FSH. So in New Zealand, the normal levels of FSH for a woman of reproductive age is around 4 to 25 international units per litre, mid-cycle. The best time to test is halfway through your cycle, just before ovulation. If you haven't had a period for about 12 months and you're considered post-menopausal, then your levels can be anywhere above 19 units per litre. FSH is tested when it is suspected that there may be fertility problems with both men and women, because in men it's involved in sperm production. Sometimes it might be tested if a doctor is concerned there might be a pituitary disorder. And also if you have regular periods, it will be checked, and also to confirm menopause. Now, sometimes high amounts of FSH can indicate problems with the function of your ovaries. Sometimes high amounts can be a sign of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Low FSH can indicate problems with the pituitary gland itself. So all of those results would need further assessment. Stress, no surprise, and also malnutrition, so you're not eating properly, not eating enough, will also affect FSH results. And also stress of not eating properly, not eating enough nutrient-dense food will also affect reproductive function and hormonal symptoms. So what is interesting is the link between dropping estrogen and Alzheimer's, and possibly high levels of FSH in Alzheimer's. This is an area that's seeing an increasing amount of research. I find it fascinating, although it's still early days. So those people that have a really low estrogen or really high FSH for a long, long time, there could be a link with Alzheimer's. It's something that they're looking at. So it's really interesting that there's these hormones that have an effect with other parts of our body that we really don't know very much about. There have also been studies suggested that really high levels of FSH can be associated with a lower risk of diabetes. So again, there's highs, there's lows, we really don't know enough, but it's a fascinating hormone that we've probably not spent as much time learning about as we could. So there's a lot we don't know about the effects of this particular hormone, especially in regards to postmenopausal women. So there is more research being done, and we can find out a lot more about it and what it does. And obviously, when you're postmenopausal, it's high. Eventually, it won't stay high forever. But it's a really important hormone, and it's something that you can get checked if you think you could be postmenopause or menopause, in menopause, and you're no longer bleeding, you're not sure if you're cycling. FSH is a really good hormone to check. But if you've got any questions about that, please let me know. Go over to my website, you can read the blog, and you can check out some of the references there on FSH too. It's a very quick session today, so please let me know if you've got any questions about it. I will see you soon.